Welcome back to Positively Jacked, where we dish real-time strategies on the nutrition, fitness, wellness, and lifestyle trends to prioritize positive psychological habits and best practices. The goal of each of our episodes is to relay helpful information in topics relating to health, mental and physical, nutrition, lifestyle, and habit formation. In addition, we give RTS, or real-time strategy, that anyone can apply in the same day to help benefit themselves. Or, as I think I'm going to say every time, welcome back to Positively Jacked, where we take the internet's worst fitness advice, throw it in a blender, and serve you something that you can actually use.
I like that one a lot better.
I know.
So good. But before we dive in, quick housekeeping notes so you know what to expect. First things first, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on one of our latest episodes. We drop new content every week, packed with real-world advice on health, fitness, nutrition, and more.
Second, we love hearing from you. If you've got a question or topic you want us to break down for future episodes, slide into our DMs or leave a review. We're all about the engagement. So we'd love to funnel more of your questions and thoughts into the episodes.
Yes. And then if you are enjoying the show, take a minute and leave us a review. Let us know what you want to hear, what you don't want to hear. Engage with us a little bit. We like conversations. And as always, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Substack, etc.
What are we talking about today?
There's a lot of things going on.
Yep.
There is a lot of things happening with us lately. And
so a lot is changing. It's all good. It's all good, but a lot is changing. And so we thought we'd just do a little bit of a chat on how it's going. So TLDR, there's some new jobs, new rhythms, and a heck of a lot of ambiguity and uncharted water in our territory currently. We're in that weird middle zone where life's shifting faster than our routines can keep up, maybe. And if you've ever felt like you're riding on the edge of chaos while pretending you have a plan, this one's for you.
That's beautiful. That's exactly. I love riding on the edge of chaos while pretending you have a plan. I think so many people are just like, yes, that's right.
It's that time of year. It's that time of year.
I love it. No, it's perfect because we both have so much. I feel like you and I even haven't had an easy cadence of keeping in touch because I've had a lot of transitions with work and busyness. You've been traveling like every couple of weeks, it seems, but you had an event last week, and then it was a few weeks prior to that you were somewhere else. I can't remember where.
Done San Francisco and Chicago and London so far, if we're keeping track.
That's some good ones. That's some good travel. So with that note, I do think we should focus a little bit more in your direction first.
Sure. So it's been a year and it's May. We were just saying that we finished Murph, and I can count on my hands the number of times I've done CrossFit outside of the open.
Yeah, like true CrossFit. It's far and few between nowadays.
It is. And I feel like a lot of my stuff has become, the stuff that you're really good at, like the functional bodybuilding stuff, just a lot of walking. Obviously, we did, some Joy Miles about a month ago. And so I did a lot of walking. I've done some running. And other than that, just like really consistent, but maybe a little bit more outside of CrossFit than I even thought possible.
I would say you've been very consistent with activity. It's just direct CrossFit in a CrossFit box taught by CrossFit coaches.
No,
really as much.
No, great NEAT score, lots of yard work lately, and lots of functional bodybuilding. So, but lots of growth and a lot of pivots at work. For those of you who don't know, I work in tech. So hello to all my coworkers who also listen to my podcast. So we've been just in a spiral up, not spiral down, but spiral up of trying to make a lot of proposals, trying to keep pace with AI and the amount of updates and new stuff coming out, and enablement or training and growth opportunities for people in roles that involve AI. So every time we seem to get our feet under us on a plan, it's changing again. And so I have literally made like 5 slides live 9 different lives. Every time it's like, how can I reuse this slide I did for this other thing in this new plan? And hopefully something gets off the ground soon. But it's been just kind of like an insane few months of trying to get a couple programs proposed, bought in, fleshed out.
I feel like, yeah, you've had a lot of pivots. You've had a lot of pivots lately, not just work wise, because you have to interpret as this specific type of technology that is being used and utilized, but also because that workload, you've also pivoted a lot of habits, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your
I'm definitely a solidly early morning workout person.
Right now, because there was times where you would decide between morning or evening sessions, and now I feel like early morning is the standard, and then on occasion you might hit a class in the evenings or like a Saturday morning.
Yep, definitely like a set in the evening or a long walk or something in the 10 to 20 minute range in the afternoon. And now my mindset is if it doesn't happen in the morning, there's a 95% chance it's not going to happen at all.
Yeah. Well, you're not signing off till late in the day. So
it's 6:30 or later now. So that's kind of a bummer. So, but waking up early has become kind of like that investment in myself where I'm almost excited to do it because it's like, oh, these are my hours before everybody else gets to stake claim in my time or my priority.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in fitness industry and in overall balance can appreciate that, right? A lot of people appreciate the 5 a.m. wake up to get the early hours to yourself. So the first thing you're prioritizing is taking care of yourself before you become a utility person for everybody else.
Yep. And it's when you have like the most energy to feel like you have focus. If I wait until the end of the day, like I'm already so scattered. So, but the next pivot, the next redesign of my schedule is about to hit because Caitlin's almost done with school and she will be home with me all summer. It's a logistical Rubik's Cube.
Well, so logistical Rubik's Cube in what way? Because I guess it probably changes every summer she comes back from school because every summer she's just that year older. I don't know how much entertainment she requires and stimulus.
Yeah.
And so like, how does that look right now? Or is it something that you guys are just going to
It's definitely easier. Yeah, it's definitely easier. She came home with a 2-page sheet of homework that she needs to have done over the summer. So I think that gives us some structure of things that she has to do every day.
Mm-hmm.
But largely her time will be unstructured aside from when she's at camp. So she will be attending a couple camps and activities throughout the summer. But yeah, she is home. And so, you know, that mom guilt is real about the fact that you're trapped at your desk in meetings and she is largely entertaining herself, which she is good at. But yeah, we're like coming up with things to do. And the thing that it does bring is a little bit more flexibility to the morning. Like I can go work out and I don't have to try to be home by like 7 a.m. to make sure I see her off to school.
Right.
Like it does give a little bit more flexibility because once summer starts, she doesn't wake up before 9 usually. So
that's fair. Gives me plenty of time in the morning.
For sure.
Is there any part, or like, I guess, what would be the part of your routine that you think is going to have the biggest change or fall to what's the biggest pivot pending right now as far as your routine or adjustment?
I think it's the feeling of being able to hold it all together. Like routines falling apart is like, I don't know. It's not something I feel uncomfortable with at this point because I'm not somebody who's so obsessed with the perfect routine that I'm inflexible to it. And we do it enough that it's fine. But I think the biggest part is, you know, my entire day feels like an AMRAP. A really, really fast moving AMRAP. And a lot of times I will sit down at 8:30 and I don't get up again until like 1 p.m. And it's that kind of change to my routine that Like, you can't be so heads down that you forget that somebody else is in the house who needs you and needs your time and needs to feel connected to you. So it's less almost the workout, and it's more like, how do I structure my days, and how do I prepare for my days that I have those connection points, that I don't get so lost in things that I don't come up for air, which I am prone to do when there's nobody else here but myself.
When you say come up for air, are you talking about things that kind of give you that reset or kind of take less from you?
Yeah, I think it's the reset. I think it's the reset for sure. And I will work every day to completely empty the tank, right? Like, I will start the day with a moderately full battery, and I am going at every day so hard so I can be done by a certain time in the evening and feel like, okay, we're okay. We kept our head above water. And with her home, you have to consider, like, what's energy giving versus energy taking, and having enough energy throughout the day to give to another person.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, there is, like I said earlier about you being a utility to other people, but
Right.
That's not to say all of that is taking from you. Like, it's actually really invigorating to be able to be a present parent with KK, and going for even your lunches that you get to go to together and stuff like that. That definitely adds to the energy, if you will. But you're just, having to figure out, with the summer adjustment and with the workload going as it is, what adds and what drains.
Yep. And I'm one of those people that, like, and maybe this resonates with other people who listen, but I think a lot of us work jobs and have requirements of our job that keep us kind of dancing around burnout no matter what we do, where you have to manage your energy and your time and your focus very carefully, or you will burn out. And once you know that you could always skirt that line, you become very protective of the methods and the ways you can keep yourself out of it.
Right. So I guess what's something that's like fairly low effort but high return for you then? Because it seems like
walking for sure. And those early morning workouts, like that, definitely getting out of my house in the morning and getting away from the desk for concentrated time that is like very self-focused is how I skirt it to this point. So being able to keep that and knowing, like, okay, I checked my own box, I put my own mask on. Now I'm going to go make sure that I get everything done at work, but I'm also very present for her.
Right.
And I identify the key points that keep us there. Is it a board game that she sets up on my desk and we play throughout the day? Is it making sure I block out my calendar and we have a dedicated lunchtime? Is it sometimes I work from the couch so we can watch a movie? Like, I think those are the things that I'm going to try to be really intentional about this summer. I think in other summers I've been caught unaware, or it's just kind of found me.
I feel like every summer's kind of new though for any parent, especially you guys. Like, every year for KK coming into a summer is 9 months off of her growing, learning, doing all these things. So I feel like, every year until she's not there anymore, it's going to be some form of
slightly different. Yeah, for sure. I think, like, when we first moved here, I took the job and we moved here a couple months after. And like, you and I both know, like, that was like the worst summer. And I was not ready for how bad it was going to be. Actually, the first 2 summers were really awful. And so every year I've gotten better at being ready for it, but I was caught unaware the first 2 times. Because the first one you always figure is a fluke, and then it happens again. You're like, oh, well, shame on me then. I didn't. Quarter 2 in any corporate environment is always the worst, I think. So now we know, and we are ready.
I think as the bystander, you have navigated it incredibly effectively, and I will be asking all the questions for if and when I have kids. So, okay. So KK is gone. When did you go back to school? August,
When did she go
September.
back?
Yeah.
She's back in September this year. So she's actually back like several weeks later. And that's because they are building a new building. They're doing massive construction on campus and
Oh,
they are going to be ready a little late. So they just moved the school year back. So that definitely means it's a blessing and a curse. Obviously, later means she's home longer. And that's obviously more difficult. But I think we could get a couple more like weekend trips or a beach trip in that we normally wouldn't get.
sure.
And then obviously we'll try to come back to Missouri for a week. Yay.
Yay.
First or second weekend of August, hopefully.
Yay.
Yay.
Yay. I know a few people who will be very happy.
I'm excited. I mean, not excited about Missouri. Nobody. Ugh. But love you all, but no.
I love it. Okay.
But I am excited to spend a week of like catching up with all my favorite people and my best friend and getting some workouts in, hopefully at Village, because I haven't gotten to be there more than once. So
Yeah, that's right. It was just the one workout when you guys visited that last time.
Mm-hmm. I'm a nomad now in Missouri, so
I know, it's crazy.
I can go wherever I want. Nobody remembers me anyway.
I don't think that's true. But
I can still go anywhere I want to go.
Still go anywhere you want. You're absolutely right. Okay, so let's say, I think you'll navigate the summer very well. I think KK is just a product of you and Neil in that she's an awesome kid. You're right. Self-sustained, self-entertains herself. But I think you guys find a good balance. And she's getting older, more mature. She appreciates her time to herself. She appreciates the project that you guys do together. Like you guys do it well. And I would say the thing that sets it apart is that you guys communicate about it really well too.
Yeah, I think now that we have like family Google chat has been a game changer for us.
Died that she Google chatted you to come help her with something at one point. I can't.
Oh no, she sent me a meeting invite. I was like, come down here so I can help you with your homework. And she sent me a Google Meet. She's like, log on to the meeting, please. And I'm like, how do you know your kids growing up in your environment? It was so good.
That's so good. Well, it's okay. So I feel like the summer's going to go better than you think. But having said that, what will it look like when you turn it over in September? Like what does September look like if the summer goes well?
I think for me that I'll have been present and intentional and like planning my schedule each week and putting more blocks on where they need to be, and that I wouldn't necessarily be like a meeting zombie like I normally am, where it's like I've got 4 beverages in my empty lunch container and I'll have not moved. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. And that obviously I stay consistent with like the things that are energy giving.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I think the morning routine.
And then hopefully a little bit of travel maybe too. So
I hope you guys get to travel. I know that you've been wanting to, and your Europe trip last year was so dope.
I know.
So, yeah.
I know. So beach this year and then hopefully maybe one other trip.
Not another trip to Deutschland? You don't want more sausage? No?
Kristen's there right now, but yeah. She's had like 5 spritzes by now, I think.
Do you have an idea of what beach you would go to? Or like, is there any prospects?
We're doing Hilton Head. So we booked a resort in Hilton Head, and then I think Neil's got some races up in Virginia, so maybe we'll hit another like a Virginia beach or something.
Nice. I want to come down for one of his races so bad. Like,
you should
spend a track weekend there.
Yeah, it's fun. So let's talk about you. I want to talk about you.
Why? I'm not that entertaining as you.
Yeah, but like lately, so the past 2 weeks, like we both admit like our communication has sucked the past 2 weeks, considering we talk to each other every day, but there's a reason.
Well, and also we chat every day, but it's like it's so funny. Like if you brought the texts from the day together, it's like less than a 4-minute conversation. But like, yeah, one of us will shoot each other like, hey, how's the day going? 3 hours later, been a busy morning. How about you? Same. I'm finally sitting down to eat lunch. 3.5 hours later. So how was lunch? Like, it's very
it's
separate.
Been not our normal.
Well, it's constant, but it's also like if we had called each other up to do that conversation, it would take 3 minutes. but it's
It would also
because
be
we're going
really
in,
sad. It would.
we're going in and out a lot. You've had a lot on your plate, and I recently have had a lot more added to my plate, totally by choice, but quite the pivot and switch up. I will not be coaching in person for the foreseeable future, which is quite the change for me. I have not coached in person since I was 16 years old. So
I was gonna say this is like
yeah, I became a personal trainer. Well, if I count freshman year in athletic training, because I had to be at different meets or different stuff like that. Like, yeah, technically I wasn't a coach, but yeah, 16 in high school, I would coach younger athletes. And then as soon as I went to Mizzou, I was a personal trainer, opened the gym my senior year of college. And yeah, I have not coached people in person for probably 20 years.
but I feel like your current setup, if you're watching the video on YouTube or Spotify, is kind of a clue maybe as to what might be happening.
It is merging. So I get without dancing around it too much, I accepted a wonderful job offer from a company that we have been very familiar with for quite some time. I will be working with Push Press online gym management systems, and yeah, I've been familiar with Push Press since, I don't know, it's been around since 2008. We've probably known about it since it was 2012, 2013.
I was gonna say we were really early adopters.
Yeah. I mean, as far as Fringe when we were there got it, 2000, it was right around the time I had left, 2015, 16.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Right. So for anybody who's not as familiar, Push Press is similar to Wodify. It's similar to StreamFit, but they are in the process of expanding very big for their company. They want to get into martial arts studios. They really want to just be the pioneer management system for any boutique gym. And in that expansion, they wanted people who were familiar with the systems. And you know, I've been familiar with using it directly since 2019. We've even taught a couple of other gyms that we've worked with and consulted with, and we've gotten them signed up with it because it is, especially that as a company, I think they do a lot of listening. They do a lot of feedback and adjustments from people who use them. And I think you sent me the offer, or you sent me the link to the job.
Yeah. I'm good like that. I'm good on the job because I think I sent you the MetFit job too.
You did.
I think both for me.
Like, yeah, you're like an eagle eye on.
I'm like always watching. I'm always watching.
But the thing is while I love coaching in person, and any MetFitters that might be listening to this, I absolutely love coaching in person, love coaching one-on-ones. It was very cool to learn from somebody in the industry that was more exercise physiology based, working with more of a older population. But our goal is to continue to grow PJ, and remote work and remote coaching I'm already set up for. And then when we saw this, I mean, it was full-time working in a system that I was already working in. It's just now, instead of coaching or working with 2 to 4 gyms, I'll be working with, as far as I know, gyms in the central area of the United States.
I think you and I have a unique perspective that is not only coaching and human focused, but we can translate those human skills and that customer experience to technology and our use of technology. And not to toot our own horn, but like I feel like that's always been our unique POV. Yeah,
I would agree. And that's the thing is I might not be coaching in person, but the way I see it, I'm coaching people to use this incredibly resourceful system.
Completely. And we love consulting, and it is also consulting. Right. So
it's different though.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited personally because like you work in Slack and I work in Slack. So
so we'll just be Slack not to do each other.
The huddle feature is going to be a frequently used item.
Well, and it'll be a big adjustment work from home life, because I am so used to having social output in my work. and like being engaging with
Yep.
people, present and stuff like that. And that making the switch to remote will be an adjustment.
Yeah, it will be for sure. I'm here for it. Obviously as your friend to be here for you, because it is a very different experience to work 100% from home, and it's a greater challenge when your business isn't in the place that you live.
Right.
I don't think people say that enough. Like, when I worked at VU, I would run into VU people everywhere.
Yeah.
And there was a relatability in the community because the community knew VU. But like when I lived in Columbia and even here, like there are people who work at Salesforce, obviously in Charlotte, but like my company isn't where I live.
Right.
And it does make you feel a little bit more isolated. There is a sense that you live apart from your community.
Very much so. And it's interesting you say that, because in the time since the news kind of started spreading through push press, I was getting messages from old friends and like acquaintances and former competitors like, are you really joining push press? Because they work for them or have worked for them for some time. So it is kind of interesting in that, like, this is, quote unquote distance or a distant community that I've cultivated over years of being in CrossFit. But it is an interesting thing that, like, I won't be bumping into these people necessarily. I won't be seeing them in person. I'll know I'm going to see them because it'll be a meeting much like we're having right now. But it's coming at a really good time for me because I'm trying to be more intentional with not spreading my social battery too aggressively. And I feel like for anybody who does not know this, I have never not worked for myself in some like way or capacity since I graduated high school, really. Like, I was a personal trainer, I was a contractor, I opened my gym. Even when I was in Colorado, I worked as a contractor for other gyms while having online clients. When I moved back, I was manager of Fringe, but having been a previous owner, it was a very interesting gray area where you felt so much more ownership and accountability for it. And so to transition to a job that is, fully remote's one thing, but to transition to a job where you are working for a collective, a team environment of a company and a industry that is adjacent to the one that I'm used to and working into, but still very different. I've never had a job like this. I don't think I've ever had a job even remotely close to being like this. And it's gonna be cool, but it's gonna be very different, which I'm excited for. I'm excited for the difference.
I think it's a good thing to point out. You've always been kind of responsible and kind of the initiator of the tone and the standard as your own kind of contractor, as a manager of a business, like that you had a lot of ownership over and history with. Like, you always kind of dictated the way it kind of went down. And now you're working for a place where somebody else is setting that tone. You have to receive and uphold a standard and conduct yourself to a standard in order to have your job, right?
Right.
That is a completely different, that's a really good call out. That's a completely different kind of way of moving throughout your days, in addition to the remote, in addition to, being in your room at meetings all day. That is very different.
It'll be, like, I don't know. I feel like the standard is, you go to college, you get a job out of college, you work your way up, maybe you transition to a different company, maybe you don't, but it's always that kind of move up the ladder, move lateral, move up the ladder, move lateral. And mine has always been like a little more self-directed, always kind of finding myself in a leadership role with staff working alongside me and beneath me. And now I'm just like, hey, I'm just part of the customer experience team and want to get more people familiar to use this awesome tool. And that's it. It's not taken, as far as I know now, obviously, I haven't actually started yet. I start later this week, but it'll be interesting because as far as I know, the hours are what the hours are. And
Yeah.
to go from always having more work to do and a never ending list of self-employment to being able to say it's 5 o'clock, I'm done for the day is very different.
Yeah.
And there's no guarantee that's going to be that way, but I think it'll be a lot
I think
simpler.
it's going to be closer. It's going to be closer for you than it is for me. I think, and it feels like you're cutting yourself, like you're getting away with less. I think one of the things I realized when I started working remote and when I started working like this job versus other jobs I had prior to kind of this stage of my career is I'm often more exhausted, even on a slow day of just sitting in one place all day, than I was when I was up and moving around and context switching more.
Right.
So I guess like, what do you feel like your schedule is going to look like day to day? Like, how are you gonna set up your optimal schedule?
I've already rehearsed it.
You've already rehearsed it.
I've already started rehearsing my days. So
I love that. I love that.
Last week. So any days that I wasn't coaching, my hours, as far as we know now, my hours are going to be 9 to 5, but fully remote. So I don't know how the measures are going to be. I don't know the meetings and schedules and all that stuff. But basically, all I've been doing is waking up around 5:30. I get my morning journaling done. I make sure I eat. I'm going to have to switch to more morning sessions. I'm not foreign to them, but they definitely were the minority because I had middays way more open. Mm-hmm. So I'm into doing more workouts in the morning. I do get more time with Kels in the morning, which is nice because we used to have a cadence of like wake up, coffee, and breakfast together. And then at a certain time, we both shot off to our day. And then the funny thing is because I'm not starting till 9, and I'm very used to waking up early, I get a lot of my remote stuff, programming wise, client work done in the mornings now, which is nice because then I can just make sure everything's set up for the day for people or answer any questions they have from the night before. And then 9 o'clock rolls around and I'll be in my office until 5 p.m. And then we'll see what the evenings. I'm not usually an evening worker outer, but I'm putting a few things in place to test it to see if it has a place. Usually later in the day is quite a bit more difficult for me.
Yeah, I feel like the gym also hits a peak annoyance time at like 5 o'clock. For me, maybe it's just lifetime, but like, oof, it just gets full again, and it's difficult to navigate that.
It is, but the thing is like, I love the thing of or the quote. It's like, in order to have what you've never had, you have to do what you've never done. And I absolutely will have to pivot these things. Like I have not had it in my working career where I have not been able to dictate my own training schedule to almost like perfection. Now it's like, hey, between 9 and 5, no, sir. You got to either do it in the morning, do it in the evening, or figure out.
It's definitely that feeling of you're definitely locked into a schedule more where you're like, if you sleep in, there's not a makeup time. You know what I'm saying? Like all of a sudden your window gets a little bit more rigid in that sense. Like you get more time in the morning, but like you're so locked into other people's priorities for you at a certain point in the day that it's like, this is your window. If you miss it,
right,
it's more difficult to get out and get it done.
Yep. But I look forward to that to a point, because with self-employment, with working for yourself, there's also the organic fluctuations to a schedule. I feel like I'll have some schedule fluctuations, but knowing that time is spoken for is actually kind of calming. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Just knowing the exchange, knowing that this is my work, this is what they expect from me, this is what I expect from them, and then everything else on top of it is a choice.
Yeah. Gosh, when you said schedule fluctuations, and I was like, I feel like that's an understatement for you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The schedule fluctuations for as long as I've known you, it's been like, I mean, it's a game of like Tetris. It was literally Tetris every week with you, and then no week was the same. And I always remember thinking, God, how exhausting. I couldn't do that. I couldn't go back. Never say never, obviously, but I couldn't I couldn't live a life where I'm slotting my weeks like days before, and then, you have people who cancel and people who flake out, and like you're right. People may throw meetings on my calendar at the last minute, but like the time is already spoken for. I'm already sitting here.
Right.
So I think in that sense you'll like it a lot better.
I think it's a peace of mind. I think that this is, obviously there's freedoms with working for yourself and dictating your schedule and stuff like that, but there's also things that take extra energy because it is up to you, because it is directly in your hands. And so this will be a new experience, knowing that, hey, 9 to 5, it's spoken for. And it's just going to be up to me.
It's a good move. If for nothing else, that, again, the huddle tool is just so easy. And I won't have to try to remember for a while. I like tried to watch your schedule because you had some of it copied over onto like our PJ email, and I was like trying to keep up with it. And then I was like, this is too different every week. I'm already overwhelmed. I can't.
Yeah. I just went through and cleared out a lot of the standing stuff I had for coaching in person and some small stuff like that. And it was weird because I'm like, wow, I normally have, a 20-minute walk scheduled at this time. It's like, nope, you got to position that somewhere else because it's between 9 and 5. And I gotta be engaged and ready
I think you're still you'll still find that time and you'll get in a really nice flow. Like there are times in my day where I know I could always take a walk, and there's those moments will still exist. You just don't know the full extent of your schedule yet. But I take like 2 10-minute walks like every morning. It just works out that there's always little tiny pivots. They might, vary 10 to 30 minutes, but they do happen.
Sure. And, if there's one thing I'd like to point out with something like this, because we always try to emphasize the balance, right? Mm-hmm. Making sure you stay level, make sure you're serving yourself as well as serving utility and making sure that you have, your roles and your responsibilities and your, what am I trying to think of? Not personas. It'll come to me. But basically you have a bunch of hats that you're going to wear throughout the day. And in a transition such as this, it's not, I don't want to say that balance isn't necessarily achievable or attainable or it won't happen, at some point, but it's not going to be clean. It's not going to look like balance, especially now and in the first, possibly 2-3 months. It'll be the adjustment period. And balance is as much the act trying to sustain it or trying to put the equilibrium back as it is things being balanced.
Yes. I think the polished version of balance doesn't exist, right?
Right.
Intentionality matters. And how you put quote unquote balance back in is all input from you. Right. So, and I think it's what you learn very quickly is leveling up is like, you do not get more time. You just get more responsibility. Right. And it's always going to be there. It's going to always be sitting on your shoulder. I think what I've learned is I block out my time. This is my time. I am entirely present for it. We are going to put work aside and I'm going to be here. Now, let's say that's at 5 p.m. and I have a meeting with Australia at 5:30 every Thursday. Like, okay, then I'm coming back and I'm going to plug back in and I'm going to take care of this and I'm going to come back and then I'll be present again with my family. It's never perfect. There is no perfect 9 to 5. It doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. Not anymore. Not in our current world, not with remote work and time zones and all of that. You just learn how to put the right inputs into your day. So when you come out of it, you feel like I have touched all the things that matter to me and I've upheld all the things I'm responsible for.
Yeah.
And then you're constantly in a state of redesigning them. So Caitlin's home for the summer, slight redesign. You're going to start a new job, slight redesign. All the things that are still important are going to be there.
Yep.
I think it's like, you just shift and redesign so that there are definitely things that are non-negotiable. There are things that you're going to keep. There are things you're going to put aside, because otherwise you'll freak yourself out if every single thing isn't perfect, if you have the wrong mindset about it.
Right. And then I would even
Would I like a 90-minute workout every day? Yes, I would. Is it realistic? No. Today we
Right.
get a 3, and we're going to be happy with that. It's fine.
Well, and I think I love the what you basically just said, because it was funny because you were talking about, do you have all your responsibilities taken care of externally and internally, which it's one of those ones where like balance is not necessarily a state of being. It is a constant action of intentionality. Yep. There's intentionality behind it, where you, in that moment, are you understanding of yourself? Are you taking more from yourself? Which is where we find most people that we end up coaching and consulting, is that they do take too much from themselves and not give enough back. Or are you in the moment where, like you said, like, this is the moment where I'm giving something to myself because I have half an hour before I'm on a call, and I know I have that call, and that call is spoken for. But the half hour before is mine, and I need to be very intentional about it, because then it tips the scales away from serving externally versus internally. And so, yeah, I love that, because when we talk about balance, we're not talking about it being a state of just existence. No, it is a constant fluctuation, adjustment with intentional action surrounding it.
I think a lot of coaches who sell services on the internet would tell you there's a way to design a static schedule that will be perfect and get you the results and the life you want. And I'm telling you now, it's a lie.
Right. I will say there are themes and things that, you know, we both agree waking up earlier to get yourself some hours in the morning can help, but also you need to make sure you have a good bedtime. Like,
well, I think it's
3 hours earlier of wake up and work on 5 hours of sleep.
Yes, that's just it. I think a lot of people convince you that it has to look a certain way to be balanced, or that there's a perfect mix, and there's not. It's a constant state of input, output, and your ability to be intentional about it.
Right. And in the coming weeks, as I learn this new role, this new job, and this new team, still doing Positively Jacked coaching and nutrition work and stuff like that, there's going to be some challenges. There's going to be some adjustments, but I don't know. I'm almost excited for it. It's such a chosen challenge, and yeah, it's different, but like, I don't think it's a bad different in any way, shape, or form, because it came from with such intent. It came with knowing that this would be a step in that direction. I kind of made peace with the adjustments I would have to make before I was even offered a job.
I think too, if it's anything like my experience has been, I look forward to this time because it's an investment into myself. It's creative time. I get to control it in an environment where I don't get to control everything, right? And so now you'll probably value it a lot more because it's your creative time, your control time, right? Yep. You grow it as you see fit. You say the words you want to say. You put your brand out there, and you invest in the people you want to invest in. We invest in, all of us.
I like it. No, I love that. And I'm going to be learning from you and Neil and anybody who's had experience with this stuff, because I already joked with one of our, we did Murph today at gym here in town, and I saw one of my people that I used to coach, and they work from home, and I kind of joked about them because they had found out I had the job, and I was like, yeah, I'll be calling you for advice. And I think he thought I was joking, and I'm like, no, this work from home stuff is way foreign to me. Like, I'll be asking quite a few questions about how to adjust some stuff.
Yeah. So then let's shotgun. Go ahead.
Oh no. And on that note, I think we're going to the exact same spot.
So what's one thing you've decided you have to keep? What's your non-negotiable?
I think my non-negotiable is my morning routine of wake up, hydrate, journal, walk outside, and breakfast with Kels. I think those things, because we usually wake up between like 5 and 6. She usually does not have to be at work until 8:30. And so we get 2 to 2.5 hours to start the day. I always have a better day when I journal. I always have a better day when I move myself in the first thing in the morning. And I always have a better day when I have like a good 20-30 minute, like almost temperature check with my wife. Like it just sets everything up for all the variety that can come with the day. So the one thing I am holding on to is that 2-hour routine in the morning of getting those things checked off. There might be some add-ons, there might be some adjustments, but those elements will be as constant as I can keep them. What about you?
Sure. Oh, it's definitely the early AM workouts and that feeling. I've connected with my own fitness. I've moved that needle forward. Hopefully now that Caitlin can stay home by herself for an hour or two, then Neil can join me and then go off to work.
Yep.
So we get a little bit of extra time together in the morning. So that's kind of my goal too. Need to get better about journaling. I'm working on it.
Dude, the 750 words a day is so nice just because it gives you so many cool like diagnostics and metrics with it. Like,
Nate, there aren't enough swear words.
there are plenty of swear words. You just gotta.
Mine would just be all swear words.
I was gonna say it's just gonna tell you that you're feeling mostly like swearing. Like that'll be your diagnostic afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the opposite side of the coin, so we've got stuff that is definitely holding us as far as habits go. What's something you're gonna drop, or what's something that's gonna definitely change in like the next 3 to 6 months that you're like totally okay with?
Definitely not just wigging it on my calendar and not blocking out time. That's needed to stop for a while, and I've let it go because we've been in the midst of so much stuff. But definitely pretending like I don't deserve to schedule intentionally and block intentionally to make sure I get enough variety in my day. I guess we'll just say variety.
Okay, I like that. That's good.
So, yeah. What's one thing that you are excited to redesign?
I will say this because it's dual. I am excited to redesign my training program, but that won't happen until after June 21st, because along with the new job, I'm also in almost taper phase for this marathon prep. And while the running took a shift in the past 2 to 3 weeks to where it's getting better, the first 10 weeks of this cycle, I was less than happy about, especially. So the thing I am definitely looking forward to redesigning is my own training regimen and schedule, because I have 2 days a week where I might get to work out with some guy friends of mine. I'm looking very forward to that. I have Saturday sessions that are geared towards a high rocks. I think we're going to be signing up for one in November, which I'm looking forward to that. And so that's what I think will be cool to redesign, is just, I've had X amount of hours. I've almost always had like noon to 1 or noon to 2 to train. And now it's like, well, I could get a 30-minute bike session like some people get in their mornings, and then go pump session in the garage later that day, if that's the way my day just breaks down. I like that opportunity, because even recently I've shifted to shorter training sessions that are incredibly effective, but I don't have to spend an hour to 2 hours in the gym each time. I go out, I warm up. It's just that intentionality, right? I think the intentionality and the new schedule follow into a redesign for me, and I'm very excited about that.
I'm excited for the delayed gratification of that whole statement.
Yeah. Okay.
Like you need like the children's Christmas countdown ring, where like paper ring, peel it off when this marathon is done, and you get to like go back to training however you want.
I will say,
within reason, obviously, with the high rocks like in the picture, but like not marathon training.
I have learned the value of running. Like, I've learned the value of just being able to go out and run, and also learned the value of like, holy crap, I went out and ran 20 miles 2 weeks ago, and it was almost 4 hours. And you get done with a training session, air quotes, and you're just like, oh my God, like a sixth of the day is gone.
I can't even. I love that for you, but no, never. Sorry.
Whatever, 6'2", 220, and running a marathon. I think that's awesome. That's that juggernaut status that I signed up for. And afterwards, I'll probably get back into lifting something heavy and going back to my roots.
Yes, thank you. Speak my language now.
Okay. Well, I think that does it for this episode.
Yep.
It's a good catch up.
Sure.
So many good things happening.
Yep.
As we look into the adjustments to be made.
I know. I'm loving it for us secretly because I know that we like kind of thrive in this environment now. But we're just at the place where it's not actively happening, but we're thinking about it.
I would say I think the reason we thrive in it as much as we do now is because of the intent that we've put behind it. Right?
Yes.
Like
for sure.
with your work, with work adjustments for me, like since we, decided to take PJ to a certain next step, all that stuff, like it's all intentionality. So it all, because it's chosen, the difficulty and the hurdles and stuff like that are like, we're excited about those because those mean that we are staying the course on this big picture or big pictures and adjustments that we chose a while back. And this is just
exactly what Neil said last night, almost word for word.
I quoted Neil by not even trying.
I mean, literally, I know, literally almost word for word. But anyway, that's another story for later.
Well, if any listeners are navigating a big shift, new job, chaotic summer, or just trying to keep habits from flying off the rails, just know that you're not alone. This is something that we talk about because we're in it. It's not just that we're actually, I don't necessarily consider us experts, but we are in it. And it's, seasons are messy, but they're also where the most meaningful lifestyle design actually happens. And as we said, this is all a product of us making that intentful decision before.
Yes, sir. Follow us at Positively Jacked on Instagram. Find us on Facebook or reach out to us at www.positivelyjacked.com.
And if you've got a habit you're redesigning or a ritual that's keeping you sane, send it our way. And we'll shout it out in the next episode. And as always, stay positively jacked.